We're currently reading The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. Can't remember what chapter we're on, number-wise. We just read chapter 10, The Battle of the Bears. So yeah, okay, we're on chapter 11. And the kids, they went to the top of the faraway tree. Well, actually, they weren't going to go to the top of the faraway tree. They were going to bring Moonface some toffee that they made at home. And then Joe, in his infinite wisdom, was like, I'm just going to peek. I'm just going to take a look. I'm not even going to go all the way up. I'm just going to look. I'm just going to peek through, see what land is up there. And he got kidnapped by a polar bear. Immediately. And then the children all had to go, or the remaining children had to go to Bear Land, or I don't know, they went to like Teddy Bear Land or some shit like that, and they met with Goldilocks and the three bears. And then Goldilocks and the three bears were like, oh yeah, the polar bears are like our cousins. We know how to get there. And then they like magicked their house to the land of ice and snow with like a magic potion or some witchcraft like that. And then their house appeared in the snow, and they went out and they searched for Joe, and there was a war between the polar bears and the brown bears, and they threw like really big snowballs at each other, and they mostly hit Moonface in the face because he has a really big face. And then they ran away. But while they were fighting, Joe snuck out from the evil snowman's lair. And he actually accidentally ran into Goldilocks and the three bears' house. And he went into the bears' house, and he ate their porridge, and he broke their chairs, and then he fell asleep in the baby bear's bed. And that's where we left off. So they're retreating from the war, beaten, and they've just arrived back at their house to see that there's someone inside. Chapter 11, More and More Surprises. There doesn't seem to be anyone here, said Bessie, cautiously looking around. Well, who lighted that candle? Asked Moonface, his big round face looking anxious. We didn't leave it lighted. Suddenly, the father bear gave a very angry growl and pointed to his chair. Who's been sitting in my chair? He said. And who's been sitting in my chair? Asked the mother bear, pointing to hers. Somebody touch my spaghetti. We haven't gotten to that part yet. And who's been sitting in my chair and broken it all to bits? Squeaked the baby bear in tears. Bessie giggled. This sounds like the story of the three bears coming true, she said to Fanny. Oh, that was another really funny part. Like when the kids met the Goldilocks and the three bears, they're like, oh my God, like the story? And all of the bears said at the same time, never heard of it. Something like that. They're like, don't you know the story of the Goldilocks and the three bears? And they're like, no, doesn't sound familiar. There's a picture too. Oops. This sounds like the story of the three bears coming true, she said to Fanny. They'll talk about porridge next. They did. Who's been eating my porridge? Said the father bear angrily. And who's been eating my porridge? Said the mother bear. And who's been eating mine? And gobbled it all up? Wept the baby bear, scraping his spoon round the empty plate. It's all very mysterious, said Moonface. Somebody lighted the candle. Somebody sat in the chairs. Somebody ate the porridge. But who? Not me this time, said Goldilocks. I was with you all the time we were snowballing, wasn't I, Bears? You certainly were, growled the father bear, patting the little girl on the back. He was very fond of her. I do wish we had found poor Joe, said Bessie. Whatever will he be doing in this horrid cold land? Do you suppose we ought to go out and look for him again? Said Fanny, shivering as she thought of the ice-cold wind outside. No, said Moonface decidedly. He's gone, girls. No, said Moonface decidedly. No one is going out of this cottage again till we're safely in the wood at home. I'm afraid we can't possibly rescue Joe. I'm afraid we can't possibly rescue Joe now. Hello, Hunter Robinson. What's that noise? Said Goldilocks suddenly. Everybody listened. Someone was snoring softly in the next room. We never thought of looking there, said Moonface. Who can it be? We never thought of looking there, said Moonface. Who can it be? Shh, said Goldilocks. If we can catch him asleep, we can tie him up and make him a prisoner easily. What the fuck, Goldilocks? Everyone just wants to make people prisoners. If we can catch him asleep, we can tie him up and make him a prisoner easily, but if he wakes up, he might be fierce. They tiptoed to the door of the bedroom. One by one, they squeezed through. Who's been lying on my bed? Said the father bear in a growly voice. Shh, said Moonface crossly. Who's been lying on my bed? Said the mother bear. Shh, said everyone at once. And who's been lying on my bed and is fast asleep there? Said the baby bear. Everyone stared at the cot. Yes, there was someone there. Someone in a white bearskin. Was it a polar bear? It's a white bear, said Moonface, half frightened. Tie him up before he wakes, said the father bear. He's an enemy now. Goldilocks got a rope out of the kitchen cupboard. Moonface went to one side of the cot, and the father bear went to the other, the rope held between them. They nodded to one another. In a trice, both bent down, caught hold of the sleeper, and twisted the rope tightly around him. He's caught, cried Moonface joyfully. Joe awoke with a jump. Who had got him? Had the magic snowman caught him again? He began to shout and struggle. Moonface tied him more tightly. Then Bessie and Fanny saw his face and yelled out loudly, "Moonface, it's Joe! It's Joe! It's Joe! Oh, it's Joe!" They rushed to the cot and flung their arms round Joe. The boy was too astonished to speak. He got out of the rope and hugged his sisters. "How did you get here?" he asked. "How did you get here?" cried Bessie and Fanny. "Come into the kitchen and we'll all have some hot porridge and milk," said Goldilocks. "We can talk then and get warm." So Joe, with all the others, chattering loudly about everything. Wait, what? Oh. So Joe went with the others, all chattering loudly about everything. Goldilocks ladled out porridge into blue bowls and made some cocoa. Soon everyone was putting sugar or treacle on porridge and drinking cocoa. Joe poured some milk over his porridge and smiled joyfully at everybody. "What an adventure this has been," he said. "Shall I tell my tale first, or will you tell yours?" He told his. And then Bessie told how Moonface had gone to the three bears for their help, and all about the fierce battle. "It's a pity about the battle," said the father bear mournfully. "The white bears are cousins of ours and have always been friendly. Now they seem to be enemies." "Let's hope they don't discover our cottage," said Goldilocks, eating her hot porridge. "Moonface, hadn't we better make some magic and get back to the wood?" Yeah, why the fuck are they sitting here still? I guess you do want to eat and warm up, but maybe they could have gotten back home already. Oh, okay, never mind. He's stupid. Moonface, hadn't we better make some magic and get back to the wood? Plenty of time, said Moonface, pouring himself out another cup of cocoa. But, you know, there wasn't plenty of time. For just at that moment, Goldilocks gave a scream and pointed to the window. That's literally Moonface. "Someone looked in," she said. "Don't be silly," said Moonface. "I'm not," said Goldilocks. "I tell you, somebody looked in. Who could it be?" "The handle of the door is moving," yelled Moonface, and he leapt to the door. In a trice, he had locked it and bolted it. They didn't even lock the door. At least he's got good reflexes. Sorry, I have an eyelash in my eye. Jesus. Why me? Okay. This is fine. I actually think it was like a fleck of mascara. It doesn't hurt, but it's bothersome. Where were we? Oh yeah, he jumped up and locked and bolted the door. The father bear got up and went to the window. He looked out into the snowstorm. "I can't see anything," he said. And then he growled loudly. "Yes, I can. I can see the white bears. They have surrounded our cottage. Now what shall we do?" "Well, they can't get in at the door, and they certainly shan't get in at the window," said Moonface, looking fierce. The door shook, but it held well. Someone battered on it. We shan't let you in, yelled Joe. If anyone tries to open the window or break it, I'll hit him with this kettle, shouted Moonface, who had caught up with the kettle and was dancing about with it. Moonface, that kettle has got hot water in it, said Fanny. Do be careful, you dropped some on me. I'll pour it down the neck of any bear that dares to come in here, yelled Moonface, spattering the room with steaming drops. Oh dear, said Bessie. Hide behind the bed, Fanny. It seems to me that Moonface is almost as dangerous as the bears. The father bear dragged the big table across the door. Things were getting exciting. Joe and the girls were frightened, but they couldn't help feeling terribly thrilled, too. Whatever was going to happen next? Oomph, oomph, boomed the big bears outside, but they couldn't get in at the door or the window. But they found another way. The chimney was wide and big, for the fireplace was one of those old-fashioned kind and needed a wide chimney. One of the bears climbed up onto the roof, followed by 3 more. The first one slipped into the big chimney. Down he went, whoosh. Down went another, and the third, and the fourth. They landed with a crash onto the big hearth and hurriedly jumped away from the flames of the fire. Surrender! They cried to the startled children and bears. Surrender! The magic snowman is outside. Let him in. And next, after I go to the bathroom, will be chapter 12, What Happened to the Snowman.